Someone who looked like her appeared with unexpected intentions. The days felt quiet as I lived alone in the old heritage house, left by my parents after becoming a widower. For nearly 10 years, I had lived a married life with my beloved wife, but fate had other plans. The tragic death of my wife 2 years ago left a void in my life. One afternoon, I decided to clean the attic to distract myself from the grief. While sorting through old belongings, my hand reached for a dusty photo frame hidden behind a stack of boxes. Thick dust obscured my view, so I wiped it away with my hand. I was in for a big surprise when I saw the figure in the photo. My wife and I looked happy in the photo, but what sent a chill down my spine was the date and year below the photo, 1 year after her death. My heart raced. How could there be a photo of us a year after her death? Logic told me it must be a mistake, but curiosity overcame my skepticism. I turned the photo over and found my wife's handwriting on the back. "Thank you for the 10 years of happiness. I will always watch over you." My breath caught as I read it. Did this mean she was still with me, or was it just a product of my deep longing for her? Every night since then, another presence was felt in this house. Soft whispers beckoned me or gentle touches on my shoulder. However, I never saw her. All of this only deepened my longing, until one night in the depths of my sleep, I felt someone sitting on the edge of the bed, gently stroking my hair with the same affection as before. I awoke to see my wife's figure sitting there with a gentle smile. "At last, we're together again," she whispered before disappearing into the light. Since that moment, I believed that my love and my wife would always be together, in whatever world we inhabited. After that incident, my life regained meaning. Even though it was just in my dreams, my wife's presence could soothe my soul, yet the longing and yearning never ceased. One night, as I drifted in memories of our time together, I heard faint weeping coming from the attic. Curiosity piqued, I opened the door to the attic with a pounding heart. Darkness greeted me, with only the moonlight piercing through the gaps in the wooden planks. "Darling, is that you?" I called softly. There was no answer, only the sound of heartbreaking sobs growing louder. I reached into my pocket, grabbed a flashlight, and cautiously ventured inside. The beam of light danced around, and not far from me, I saw a terrifying figure hunched over. Startled, the flashlight slipped from my grip. The dim light revealed a horrifying sight. Long hair veiled her face, and her clothes were disheveled and stained with dried blood. Her sobbing grew more intense. My heart raced as though it would burst. "Is that you?" I stammered. She weakly nodded, but her black eyes never left mine. We remained in silence for a while. I placed my trembling hand on her quivering chest. Her heartbeat was faint, like the final fluttering of a butterfly's wings before death. Her once warm skin felt cold and lifeless. Suddenly, she grasped my hand tightly. "Please?" she whispered faintly before her frail body slumped in my arms. I watched in disbelief as her life slipped away. When I opened my eyes, I realized I was behind the old wooden door, securely locked. I banged on it desperately, seeking help, but there was no response. I wiped cold sweat from my forehead. Was the earlier incident just a nightmare, or was it an evil plan to trap me? My thoughts spiraled into chaos. I banged on the old door in desperation, crying for help, but received no answer. Then I felt a pair of eyes staring at me from the darkness. The flashlight shone, and a horrific figure with long hair was revealed. Her face, my own face. The resemblance between her pale face and mine left me paralyzed with fear. We locked eyes in silence. I still couldn't comprehend the meaning behind all of this. Suddenly, she smirked and shattered the silence. "You must be surprised to see yourself in front of me." I could only nod weakly, still engulfed in profound fear. She slowly released herself from my grip and began to explain. "I came to warn you. You will face the same fate as your wife." Before I could ask what she meant, she transformed into thick smoke that enveloped the room and vanished without a trace. I opened the door, which, to my surprise, was unlocked. Inside lay the lifeless body of my wife. My heart was shattered as I realized the fate that awaited me. I tried to calm myself after the mysterious incident. However, the warning from the figure that resembled me continued to haunt me. I let time pass while fear and unease gnawed at my soul. One night, as I stepped out of the house to find some peace, I heard weeping that shattered the silence. The sound was hauntingly familiar, my beloved wife's voice. I listened carefully, searching for the source of the crying. From the front of the house, I saw a translucent figure of my wife, sitting on the ground, weeping and calling my name. I rushed towards her and embraced the fragile figure, attempting to comfort her. However, her body felt as cold as ice, and I felt nothing. Tears streamed down her face as she called me by name. I stroked her hair gently. apologizing for my helplessness all these years. Suddenly, her fragile form disappeared from my arms. Panicked, I looked around, but she was gone. Then, I felt a pair of cold hands embracing my neck from behind. My wife whispered softly, "Now, it's your turn to accompany me." And indeed, the room grew suffocating. I turned my body to see her face. Not my wife's face, but a figure that resembled me. She grinned sardonically before everything turned pitch black. To the end.